Three ways to do correlation research. Researchers use data collection method to collect information in correlation research. The first is naturalistic observation, survey, and documentary. Naturalistic observation is a way of data collection in which people's behavior targeting is observed in their natural environment in which they typically exist. This method is a type of field research. It could mean a researcher might observing people in a grocery store, at the cinema or playground, or in similar places. Researchers who are usually involved in this type of data collection make observations and as unobtrusively as possible so that the participants involved in the study are not aware that they are being observed, else they might deviate from being the natural self. Ethically, this method is acceptable if the participants remain anonymous and if the study is conducted in a public setting, a place where people would not normally expect complete privacy. As mentioned previously, taking an example of the grocery store where people can be observed while collecting an item from the aisle and putting it into the shopping bags. This is ethically acceptable, which is why most researchers choose public setting for recording their observations. This data collected method could be of both qualitative and quantitative. Survey. Here, you probably survey the applicants. So, surveys and questionnaires are some of the most common methods used for psychological research. The survey method involves having a random sample of participants complete a survey, tests, or questionnaire related to the variables of the interest. Random sampling is a vital to the generalizability of surveys result. Here, the advantages what we have in survey is they are cheap, easy, and fast, can collect large amount of data in short amount of time, and flexible. There are certain disadvantages. Results can be affected by poor survey questions, also by unrepresentative sample, and lastly, outcomes can be affected by the participants. If researchers need to gather a large amount of data in a short period of time, a survey is likely to be the fastest, easiest, and cheapest option. It's also a flexible method because it lets researcher create data gathering tools that will help ensure they get the information they need. That means the survey responses from all the sources they want to use, a random sample of participants taking the survey. Survey data might be cost efficient and easy to get, but it has its downsides. For one, the data is not always reliable, particularly if the survey questions are poorly written or the overall designs or delivery is weak. Data is also affected by specific faults such as unpresented or represented samples. The use of survey relies on participants to provide useful data, where the researchers need to be aware of the specific factors related to the people taking the survey that will affect its outcome. For example, some people might struggle to understand the question. A person might answer a particular way to try to please the researcher or try to control how the researchers perceive them, such as trying to make themselves look better. Sometimes respondents might not even realize that their answers are incorrect or misleading because of mistaken memories. So, these are the drawbacks as well as the advantages of survey research. Archival or documentary research. Many areas of psychological research benefit from analyzing studies that were conducted long ago by other researchers, as well as reviewing historical records and case studies. For example, in an experiment known as the irritable heart, researchers used digitalized records containing information on American Civil War veterans to learn more about post traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. In this, there are advantages also. You get large amount of data. Again, this could be a less expensive way. Cannot be participant behavior. So researchers cannot change the behavior of participants here. Disadvantage can be unreliable. Information might be missing. No control over the data collection methods. Using records, database, and libraries that are publicly accessible or accessible through their institution can help researchers who might not have a lot of money to support their research efforts. Free and low cost resources are available to researchers at all levels through academic institutions, museums, and data repositories around the world. Another potential benefit is that these sources often provide an enormous amount of the data that was collected over a very long period of time, which can give researchers a way to view trends, relationship, and outcome related to their research. While the inability to change variable can be disadvantage of some methods, it can be benefit for archival research. That said, using historical record or information that was collected a long time ago also present challenges. For one, important information might be missing or incomplete, and some aspects of older studies might not be useful to research in the modern context. A primary issue with this research is reliability. When reviewing old research, little information might be available about who conducted the research, how a study was designed, who participated in the research, and as well as how data was collected and interpreted. Researchers can also be presented with ethical quandaries. For example, should modern research or use data from studies that were conducted unethically or with questionable ethics? So use the correlation research method to conduct correlation study and measure the statistical relationship between two variables, uncover the insights that matters the most,